Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Bhagwan Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Srivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Rajkumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Yamuna Maya Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the Simadvaris, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Simadvaris, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Simadvaris, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Sri Guru and Shri Karanga. Glories to Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 1, chapter number 3, and text number 2. Yasyam vasi shayanasyam yoga nidram vitanvataha
Yoga nidra vitanvita.
nabi rad ambuchadasit
Navi hradam pujadasi.
brahma vishwasradam patihi
Brahma Vishwasi Jampati.
yasyam vasi shayanasyam
Yashambhasi Sayanasya.
yoga nidram vitanvataha
Yoga Nidra Vitvanata.
nabi rad ambuchadasit
Navi hradam pujadasi.
brahma vishwasradam patihi
Brahma Vishwasi Jampati.
yasyam vasi shayanasya
Yashambhasi Sayanasya.
yoga nidram vitanvataha
Yoga Nidra Vitvanata.
nabi rad ambachadasid
Navi hradam pujadasi.
brahma vishwasradam patihi
Brahma Vishwasri Jampati. Yashambhasi Sayanasya.
Yashambhasi Sayanasya.
Yoga Nidram Vitanvita.
Yoga Nidram Vitanvita.
Navi hradam pujadasi.
Navi hridam pujadasi.
Brahma Vishwasri Jampati.
Brahma Vishwasri Jampati.
yasya
Yasya
whose embassy
Ambasi.
in the water shayanasya
Sayanasya.
lying down yoga nidram
Yoga Nidra.
sleeping in meditation vitanvataha
Vitanvata.
ministering nabi
Navi.
navel rada out of the lake ambuja
Ambuja.
from the lotus asit was manifested Brahma the grandfather of the living beings Vishwa the universe Shadam the engineers Patihi master. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe. From the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop the stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest. So you can repeat. A part of the Purusha lies down. A part of the Purusha. A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe. From the navel lake of his body. Navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem. And from the lotus flower atop of the stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest into existence. Purport. The first Purusha. No, you don't have to repeat this one. The first Purusha is Karanai Dakashai Vishnu. From his skin holes, innumerable universes have sprung up. That was yesterday's verse. In each and every universe, the Purusha, that's Vishnu again, enters as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. He is lying within half of the universe, which is filled with water from his body. And from the navel of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu has sprung the stem of a lotus flower, the birthplace of Brahma, who is the father of all living beings and the master of the demigod engineers engaged in the perfect design and working of the universal order. Within the stem of the lotus, there are 14 divisions of planetary systems, and the earthly planets are situated in the middle. Upwards, there are other, better planetary systems, and the topmost is called Ramaloka or Satyaloka. Downwards from the earthly planetary system, there are 7 lower planetary systems, inhabited by asuras and other similar materialistic living beings. From this Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, there is an expansion of Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, who is the collective Paramatma of all living beings. He is called Hari, and from him all incarnations within the universe have expanded. Therefore, the conclusion is that the Purusha avatar is manifested in 3 features. Firstly, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, who creates the aggregate material ingredients in the Mahatattva. Second, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, who enters in each and every universe. And third is Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, who is the Paramatma of every material object, organic or inorganic. One who knows these plenary features of the personality of Godhead knows Godhead properly, and thus the knower becomes free from the material conditions of birth, death, old age and disease, as is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. In this sloka, the subject matter of Mahavishnu is summarized. Mahavishnu lies down in some part of the spiritual sky by his own free will. Thus he lies on the ocean of Karana, from where he glances over the material nature. And the Mahatattva is at once created. Thus, electrified by the power of the Lord, the material nature at once creates innumerable universes. Just as in due course, a tree decorates itself with innumerable growing fruits. The seed of the tree is sown by the cultivator, and the tree or creeper in due course becomes manifest with so many fruits. Nothing can take place without a cause. The Karana ocean is therefore called the causal ocean. Karana means causal. We should not foolishly accept the atheistic theory of creation. The description of the atheist is given in Bhagavad Gita. An atheist does not believe in the Creator, but he cannot give a good theory to explain creation. Material nature has no power to create without the power of the Purusha, just as a Prakriti or woman cannot produce a child without connection of Purusha or man. The Purusha impregnates and the Prakriti delivers. We should not expect milk from the fleshy bags on the neck of a goat, although they look like bristly nibbles. Similarly, we should not expect creative power from material ingredients. We must believe in the power of the Purusha, who impregnates Prakriti or nature. Because the Lord wished to lie down in meditation, the material energy created innumerable universes at once. In each of them the Lord lay down, and thus all the planets in different paraphernalia were created at once by the will of the Lord. The Lord has unlimited potencies, and thus he can act as he likes by perfect planning, although personally he has nothing to do. No one is greater or equal to him. That is the verdict of the Vedas. Om Ajnanatirandasya Yanantanan Sarakaya Chakshurvimikandena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Sadipan Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swanapalantikam Vandayam Sri Guru Sri Uttarapadakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sarvajatam Sakana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadutam Vajana Siddham Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sakana Lalita Sri Visakham Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinamando Jagatpajat Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Paramami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadini Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatyarishatayani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasani Gauravani Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Siam Vasi Sayanasya Yoga Nidram Vitam Bhagavat Navi Vedam Vajadasi Rama Vishwasudam. A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe, and from the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop of the stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest. So this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam is entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So a little later in this chapter we're going to hear of 22 principal incarnations of Krishna, the Supreme Lord. But first is being described how Krishna comes, how these incarnations all come into this material universe. So yesterday's verse described Karanadakashai Vishnu, who manifests the material nature. Today's verse describes Garbhodakashai Vishnu, who lies down within each and every universe, and is described as being the engineer. And then after that we will learn about Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who's the Paramatma, super soul. He's the super soul both of the individual universes as well as of the individual entities, as well as of the atoms and everything else. As super soul of the universe, he lies down in an ocean of milk, and is known as Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So the most important verse of this chapter is 1.3.28, where it's described that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Krishna's ete cham sakla pumsa, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, Indrari Yakalam Lokam, Vidayantu Veda. The above mentioned, so this is after the description of the different incarnations. The above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of plenary portions, which is Chamsara and Kala, of the Lord. But Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear, so all the incarnations appear when on the planet, when there's a disturbance created by atheists. The Lord then incarnates to protect the theists. So this is known as the Paribhasa Sutra of the entire Bhagavatam. So Paribhasa Sutra means it's the verse that gives us the meaning of the Bhagavatam. And it also means it's the verse to refer to if you find any contradiction in the Bhagavatam and you want to know which is correct, you refer to the Paribhasa Sutra. So like if you randomly go through the Bhagavatam, you'll find some verses that are not consistent with our philosophy. For example, when Krishna is persuading Nanda Maharaj that he wants to worship Govardhan Hill and not Indra, he's preaching a philosophy called Karma Mimamsa. He's preaching that everything comes by karma. Now that's not our philosophy. So if we find a verse like that, of course we look at the context and see what Krishna is doing. He's trying to persuade his father to Govardhan Puja. But we come back to this Paribhasa Sutra. And in the Paribhasa Sutra, we say, oh, ete chamsa kalapam sam Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. So Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. And also Pumsa, he's a person. So anybody who tells you that this universe is created by a non-person, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And this chapter is also answering the question. We've got so many, this verse itself is answering the question. So many incarnations of God are being described, we could easily become confused and think that there's many different gods. Because we've got Lord Ram described, we've got Balaram, we've got Krishna, we've got Vamanadev, we've got Kurma, we've got Varaha, we've got so many incarnations described. But this Ete Chamsa Kula Purusham, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, is telling us that yes, they're all there, but they all come from Krishna. Krishna is the original. In the Brahma Samhita, there's a nice analogy that they all come like if we had a candle. We light one candle, that's our original candle. But from that candle we can light many other candles. And those other candles will burn, with the same type of candle, they will burn just as bright as the original candle. But still one candle is original. So Prabhupada makes the point in the class he gave on verse 1. He makes the point that the verse says it comes from Purushamrita, comes from a person. The modern scientists think it comes from a big bang or from a chunk or from something. They don't really know. So Prabhupada gives an example that we can understand. We can understand that within our body, unless the soul is here, there is no life. If a child is born and it's dead when it's born, the child will not grow, the child will not move, the child will not play. It requires the soul within the body. So similarly with the universe, on a big scale, the universe doesn't manifest itself, doesn't create laws of gravity by itself, it doesn't create other laws of nature by itself. It's all done by arrangement of a person. So Karanadaksha Vishu, yesterday's verse, he lies down in the causal ocean, also sometimes called the Viraja River. It's on the border of the spiritual world and the material world. And from him, as he's breathing in and out, the universe has come. So we can try and imagine how big he is. If from his pores of his skin, universes are coming. So he's very, very big. And as he exhales, universes come out, and as he inhales, universes go back in again. So that means his timing is different from our timing. His timing is very huge. With one breath, the whole universes come out, they perform all their functions, and they go back in again. Then second, which is today's verse, is Garbhodakashayvishu. So a portion of this Garunadakshayvishu enters each and every universe. And at that time there is nothing in the universe, it's empty. So from the water, it's said that the water is his own perspiration. He fills up half the universe with water. And then he rests on the water, on his Sheshanag. He has Sheshanag, who's a big snake, and he rests on Sheshanag in the water. Then from his navel, described in this verse, a lotus comes out from his navel. You can see that on the picture of from his navel. I can't show you. Look, it's out on my phone, I can't show you, won't be able to see it. But one day we'll set up a screen here and we'll show you all these things. So this lotus stem comes out and a big lotus on top. So within the stem, you know a lotus stem is hollow, it's got different subdivisions. With the lotus stem, within the lotus stem are all the planetary systems, all 14 planetary systems. And the earthly system is in the middle, which is a very good place to be. Because in the middle is the best place to learn about Krishna, become Krishna conscious, and go back to God. The lower three planetary systems, they're pretty much, they don't know who Krishna is. They're atheists and they're asuras. The upper planetary systems, they're administrators in this world. So they're attached to their job, and it's not so easy for them to get back to the world of the world. And then within each universe, you've got Bhagavatam Vishnu lying on the water, which covers half the universe. We've got a lotus where all the planetary systems are. And we've also got another form of Vishnu called Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Kshira means milk, so he's lying on an ocean of milk. And his island is called Svetadri. So he's who the demigods go to when they get in trouble. When the whole universe was going wrong and the earth came to Lord Brahma and says, I can't do anything, all these demons are causing so much trouble. Brahma led all the demigods to the shore of the milk ocean and they prayed to Kshirodaksha Vishnu, who was lying on the island called Svetadri in the milk ocean. Then he didn't answer them directly, they heard a voice from the sky, or Brahma heard a voice from the sky and then he repeated the message. So, to make this analogy clearer, there's a nice analogy given. If we take, in the verse it says that Lord Brahma is the engineer in the universe. So an engineer works under an architect. So Garbhodaksha Vishnu, he's lying in the Garbhodak ocean, and he's like an architect. He's resting in his office, thinking about how to create the whole universe. Or an architect is thinking how to create a building or city. And then he directs the engineer. So Garbhodaksha Vishnu, he's the architect, and he's thinking about how to create the universe. And then he directs Brahma, who's his engineer. So it's very common for people to think that Brahma is the creator of the universe. And from one point of view, he is. But he's the engineer. He's not the original designer. And he did not produce the original ingredients. He's only building from what Lord Vishnu has given him. So it's an important distinction to understand. So now it's described how Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu is kind of resting, he's kind of sleeping. But he doesn't sleep like we sleep. It's called Yoga Nidra. We're in material Nidra when we go to sleep. So Yoga Nidra is resting, but in meditation. Like we had the example of the architect who's resting on his couch, but he's not sleeping. He's dreaming about how to do so many different things. So Yoga Nidra is like that. The Lord is resting, but he is fully active and his energies are fully active. So that's why it's called yoga. and he's lying on Anantashesha. So Anantashesha is an expansion of ultimately of Lord Balaram. When we get to the different incarnations, we're going to get to that soon. So the incarnations that come in the universe, like Varaha, Narasimha, Lord Ram, so many other ones we get, Vishnu Balaram, Vamana, Varaha, they come through Kshirodaksha Vishnu. And Garbhodaksha Vishnu is the second and up, and then Mahavishnu is the next one up. But they all come from Chaturvyuha. So in Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna has his brother Balaram. When they're in Dwarka, then Krishna is known as Vasudeva. His father was in Mathura, his father was Vasudeva. In Goloka, his father is Nanda. But so when he goes back to Mathura and Dwarka, he's known as Vasudeva. And at that time, his brother Balaram is known as Sankarshan. So there's two of the first Chaturvyuha. And then Krishna's son and Krishna's grandson are but no. Chaturvyuha. Aniruddha and Pradyumna. Sorry, my brain sometimes does that. So those are the first Chaturvyuha. And then from that Sankarshan comes a second Chaturvyuha. And so from that second Chaturvyuha comes these three Vishnus, Mahavishnu, who's Karunadaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Kshirodaksha Vishnu. And then from Kshirodaksha Vishnu comes all the other incarnations. So sometimes people get confused because Krishna and Balaram come from as an incarnation. So it looks like they come from Kshirodaksha Vishnu. But actually they're the original personality of Godhead. So they take this appearance as an avatar, looking like they come from Kshirodaksha Vishnu. But actually they're the original, like in Goloka Vrindavan. And they've come simply out of compassion, simply because they want to help all the living entities go back to Goloka Vrindavan. Okay. So in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, there are manifestations of these three deities. Karunadaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. And interestingly, they are all in a line, and they also represent the feet, the navel, and the head of Vishnu. So Adi Keshav is representing Karunadaksha Vishnu. He's located at Tiruvata. Ananta Padmanabh is Garbhodaksha Vishnu. If you go to see Ananta Padmanabh, you'll also see the lotus stem and the lotus and Lord Brahma, and you see the demigods around as well. And then Janardhan Swami is Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So all these three are in a line, and somewhere, mostly in Kerala, but somewhere in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu.
Who is Kshirodaksha Vishnu?
Kshirodaksha Vishnu is Janardhan Swami.
No, okay, not Ranganath.
Well, Ranganath's separate. These three are in a line in this area. Ranganath, it's difficult to tell from Google because there's so many different descriptions. But yes, he was described as Kshirodaksha Vishnu. But so Adi Keshava is Karunadaksha Vishnu, and in this line he's the feet of Lord Vishnu. And Ananta Padmanabh is the navel of Lord Vishnu, he's Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And then Janardhan is on the other side, he is Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So they all in a line like that. So then that shows us a bigger Vishnu. But actually the Vishnu that we're looking at is much bigger than that. We had Karunadaksha Vishnu from the pores of his skin become innumerable universes. So he's huge. But we can imagine something from seeing these Vishnus in Kerala, Tamil Nadu. It takes several hours to drive from one to the other. They're not close to each other. They're quite far apart. So we can imagine Vishnu is very big and he's flying. So all these three Vishnu forms, they're lying down. And the first two, Adi Keshav and Ananta Padmanabha, he's so big, about Ananta Padmanabha is about 22 foot long, that they have three doors, like we have three doors on some of our altars. But one door you see the head, next door you see the navel, and the last door you can see the feet. So to get darshan of the whole of Padmanabha Swami and also Adi Keshav Swami, you have to go right across three doors and have a look at them. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma comes from that lotus that comes from Garbhodaksha Vishnu's navel, comes lotus stem, lotus flower. On that is born Lord Brahma. And so in a way his father is Garbhodaksha Vishnu. But actually he wasn't born like we were born. He didn't come from a womb. So sometimes he's called Aja, sometimes he's called unborn. He doesn't have a mother. On Google it tried to say that Lakshmi was his mother, but she's not. Lord Brahma comes from Lord Vishnu, but he doesn't have a mother. He comes spontaneously from the navel.
A few scriptures mention that Brahma's mother is Lotus, Padmaja. That's why his name is Padmaja.
Yes. In the verse it calls Brahma Vishvasrajam Patihi, the master of all universes. So that we talked about he's an engineer, master of the engineers in the universe. So he's not the creator, he's not the architect, he's the engineer. He's a secondary creator. Lord Vishnu is a primary creator and Brahma is the secondary creator. So that's why Gurumaj wants to put up this Goloka chart, which I'd like to have shown you today, but because it shows Lord Brahma sitting on the navel, and it shows Brahma's permission. Because here in Thailand, Brahma is very highly thought of. So many buildings will have Brahma sitting outside. Just to sit out in all the weathers, it's not very comfortable for him. But he's sitting outside under a little house. And so Gurumaj wants to show people, actually, yes, Brahma, he created this universe, but he didn't provide the ingredients, nor the original plan. He's a subsequent. He does a lot of planning and a lot of details, but he wasn't the original. And he also takes charge of Rajagun because he's creating. He needs impetus to create. So he's taken charge of Rajagun, which means the mode of passion. Lord Vishnu is taken charge of, this is Kshirodaksha Vishnu, is taken charge of the mode of goodness because he maintains the universes. And then from Brahma, Lord Shiva is born and he takes charge of Tamagun, mode of ignorance. So therefore there's a three Purushas there. And they have a part in regulating this material universe. So at the time when Lord Brahma was born, he didn't remember. He didn't know anything. He came on the lotus and all around him was dark. He had no idea where he was. So he thought, I must find out something about where I am and what I'm supposed to do. So he climbed down this lotus stem through all the planetary systems. He didn't see them because it was dark. He just climbed down the lotus stem. And when he got to the bottom, it was just water. He couldn't find anything either. So he thought, no, this is not giving me an answer. So he said, I must go up again. Well, he heard the words tapa tapa, and he realized, if I want to know anything really substantial, I have to do a little austerity. I have to do a little meditation. So he sat down in meditation, and then gradually everything was revealed. The whole Brahma Samhita is what is revealed to Lord Brahma when he sits in meditation. So in the Brahma Samhita, we're accustomed to reciting verse 29 through to verse 56. But before verse 29 is actually described the whole universal system. And the universe is actually like a lotus. And within the spaces between the petals, there are different parts of the universe. And I can't do that without referring to those, so I won't go too far. So one thing to learn about Brahma's bewilderment is that he was bewildered because he was trying to do things on his own without surrendering to the Lord. So when he realized that his answer was to engage in meditation, to engage in some austerity, and meditate on the Lord, then the answers came to him. So that's an example for us that we have to take up this process of devotional service. And for us in Kali Yuga, our process is chanting. Because with our material mind, we cannot imagine a Vishnu who is so big that universes come out from his body. But by chanting gradually, our material mind will get purified, and we will start to get more understanding of the words of our acharyas. We have to listen to the words of our acharyas, and we don't understand them all at the beginning. But if we keep listening and we keep our chanting, then gradually realization will come. So, Kshirodakshai Vishnu is also known as Hari. In a verse in Brahma Samhita, it says, Goloka Nami Nijadami Talenta Tasya, Devi Maheshu Haridam Suteshu Teshu, Ete Prabhava Nichayam Tasya, Govindam Krishna. So this is describing the structure of the universe. Lowest of all is located Devi down. So Devi is Durga. You live on that Durga is there, right?
Yes.
So lowest of all is Devi down. Durga is there. Next above is Mahesh down, where Lord Shiva is. And above that is Hari down. So this Hari is Kshirodakshai Vishnu. And above them all is Krishna's own realm known as Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted the respective authorities to the rulers of those great realms. So this is an important point. The original Krishna's two Bhagavan Swayam, Krishna, has allotted positions of authorities to these different realms so they can look up to Haridam, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, Maheshdam, Lord Shiva, and Durga, and Devi Dam. And so that's all.
Devi Mahesh Hari.
Devi is. So that's all described there. So this Hari is then. So then later on in this chapter, different from the four Kumaras, kind of in order to as far as the Buddha, who comes after the Srimad Bhagavatam was written, and Kalki, who comes later in this Kali Yuga. Everything is described for 22 incarnations. Okay, summary. So today's verse talked about Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who is the second Purusha. He's entering each universe with Garbhodakmota and reclines in Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is not an unconscious sleep. The Lord is always conscious and aware. Lord Brahma appears from the lotus on the Lord's navel. He is the greatest engineer of the universe, but he is the servant of the Lord. He is not supreme himself. The 14 planetary systems are within the lotus stem, and we are very fortunate to be in the middle. Kshirodakshai Vishnu, the third Purusha, is the direct super soul in every heart and the source of all incarnations. Okay, that's the end of our class. Any questions, comments, any additions? Superior knowledge. Any question? Any question? You understand some English, right? Little. Good. You did very well. You try and follow. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Today's verse 35 or 36?
Yeah.
Today's verse.
2.
Oh, third canto.
Third chapter.
Third chapter is finished.
She wrote that chapter. Stop. Finish.